Good morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. I am so glad that you had taken the time to be with us this morning. I have a guest today. He is from Missouri, the Branson area. He is an actor, a writer, a screenplay writer, and he's also a postmaster. And I finally got somebody that'll go postal on screen on my interview with me. So I've got I've got Dale in the green. Dale, welcome to Morning Moments.
Hey, Andy, thanks for having me. This is
All right.
great. Thanks.
All right. I've never had somebody postmaster on before. I've had actors. So this is great to be able to have you on and tell us a little bit about yourself. And let's do that. Tell me what do you do and why do you do it?
I feel a compulsion to write and to create stories. I always have since I was a kid, and it's there. And there have been times I've tried to stop because I couldn't handle rejection from publishers, etc. And I just go right back to it. I cannot stop it, and I have no greater joy than sitting over a keyboard and just creating. You know.
You know, it's amazing when you said I love to write. I hated writing. For me, it was for
Yeah.
me. I would talk my elementary teachers. I said, would you can I do a speech rather than this term paper? And they go, yes. And I'd stand up there with note cards and acting like I'm nervous. Oh, and they'd give me a better grade if I acted like I was nervous.
Oh man.
I talked my way through school and then
Really.
do a lot of writing. And now that when I'm ready to write a book, I'm going, geez, I wish I did some more writing when I was a kid. So, but that was compelled for you. You just felt that at an early age, the need to write, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Creating stories. Yeah.
And did you see, like most writers, you see stories every time you walk around, you see there's a story.
Uh, oh, Andy, I've got file cabinets of stories that I'll never have enough life to get to. A lot of my stories have come from dreams, and I used to have like a notepad next to my bed, seriously, and I jotted down them when I woke up. And sometimes it's so badly written I couldn't read it in the following day. But no, I just create all the time.
Good.
Wouldn't want it any other day, actually.
Yeah. And sometimes those stories just come to you at the strangest time, don't they? I'm sure. And you just have to write
Yeah,
down pieces of it, right?
yeah. Sometimes scenes, sometimes just dialogue. Usually it's a story. I'll just get inspired by my imagination, and it just triggers it.
Now, some of those stories has turned into some scripts and things that's out there now. Could you share some of those things with us?
Okay, yeah. The first one is called Secrets of the Black Forest. Um, it's about a sinless society, a civilization living in a jungle, and there's no sin. They have eternal life, and there's one commandment they have from God: do not go into the Black Forest. And sooner or later, as luck would have it, humans, uh, a young couple couldn't resist the lure of the forbidden, and they step into the Black Forest, and then, unbeknownst to everybody else, sin befalls upon them, and their world is drastically changed. Um, and that's won several awards. There's also a political thriller, and this was a lot of fun to write because Andy took 2 years of research to do. It's about a Smithsonian researcher who stumbles upon a map that's 160 years old, and it details a secret tunnel within the White House. It falls into the hands of the Secret Service, and they check and they find 3 bodies that have been buried for 160 years inside this tunnel under the White House. And one of them is forensically determined to be Abraham Lincoln. And that starts off an whole new story. The one they just wrote was Sugar Creek, about a little girl who tries to escape her abusive father. She goes to live with her disabled uncle at his farm, and she falls into a relationship with a wild horse. And that was a lot of fun to write too.
You know, I'm so excited to talk to writers, especially people of that do screenplay writing as well as novels. But to hear that this vision comes in your head and you give it up, and you really, writers have to, people don't realize this, writers have to give up their work and really give it up to the Lord and say, it's yours now, God, because what that was in their head doesn't always happen to be what the screen finally has. And there's a
Oh,
lot of
that's for sure.
rewrites.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rewrites, and they throw this out and they chop this up and all that, and the characters change. But to be able to give birth to that and watch somebody else take it and develop it into a movie is probably thrilling, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know yet.
Yeah.
That's my next dream. But
Next
I know
stream.
it's a yeah. But I know once you surrender the rights to your written work, it may not resemble everything that you wrote originally. And
Yeah.
I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it in God's hands. I figured God knows what He's doing. He'll open the right doors to the right people. You know.
Now I'm excited for Dale because he is getting ready to change. We talked about being postal. I joke him. I know he has a lot of post office jokes, but he's getting ready to retire. Kind of like I retired just the first of the year. He's getting close to retirement, so I'm excited for him because there's a similarity of that. I've retired as a nurse. He's going to retire as a post office postmaster. But now, what's the next chapter? The best is yet to come, and I'm excited to interview Dale because right now he's getting ready to be in the next chapter like I have in the last 3 months. And I'm excited to see that God's got some wonderful things for him with the stories he has. So,
Yeah, that's my hope and prayer. Yes.
and you've been waiting now for the time where you can spend more energy to do more writing and also to pitch, if you will, some of your stories, right?
Oh yeah, I've been anxiously awaiting retirement because I never have time to finish anything quickly. It takes me sometimes 6 months just to start a screenplay and finish it because I have to work full time. So
Yeah.
this is a dream come true.
You know, it's exciting about morning moments because I find somebody called me a holy connector, and I says, well, I don't mean to be. I don't know about the holy part, but I do I do enjoy connecting. I really believe that there may be people out there right now listening to this, and some of you who've been on morning moments before and have told me, I'm looking for content, I'm looking for stories. Well, guess what? Here's somebody who has some stories for you. And
Wow.
I want you to be praying that maybe this is a guy that you need to be connected with. And
Gosh, it's beautiful.
if that's the case, look down below. I'm going to put down below information that you could get a hold of Dale. And also, I want the rest of you to keep an eye on this name, Dale in Green, because you may say, well, you know what? I heard an interview of him when he first started, and look what God's done. I'm believing in prayer and in faith, believing that that's going to happen. And you'll say, well, I knew him when he just retired, or I saw him when he just retired.
Yeah.
And so I want when I asked Dale to be on Morning Moments, I just prayed, God, what's the reason? Where's the purpose? Sometimes the purpose to know, and I want everybody else to know that God's got a plan, a future, and a hope for you. And you may be just like myself and Dale. The similarities is amazing. That God, it's a scary, scary step into the next chapter. I'm excited, but I know that God's not done with me. The Bible tells us that the best is yet to come. The former, the latter will be better than the former. And we're at the time where I believe the best is yet to come for both Dale and myself, and for some of you who's wondering about chapters in your life. Take a step, folks. You cannot steer a boat that is still hooked to the harbor. The rudder only works when you push it out of the bay and out of the harbor. Then God could steer you directions. So
Well said.
right now, some of you are just parked at the harbor with your boat, going, I should be doing something. Well, do something, folks. Get out there and do something for God. Ask God, what do you have for me? And I wondered, Dale and I was talking, I says, I don't know why people are on my show, but often in the middle of the interview, God just speaks. And I just felt that was for not only to Dale, but for others to hear that the next chapter is going to be exciting if you give it to him. Dale, is there any closing thoughts that you have for us here in Morning Moments?
Yeah, I wanted to share something that was uh, important to me in my Christian walk in pursuing my dream was when I allowed God to change my motive for writing. The gift that He had given me, my motive changed. It was no longer to please myself or to get ahead or get accolades or uh, win approval from man. But once I surrendered my will and I said, I'm doing this to honor God, that's when all the doors opened. So make sure whatever you do it for the right reason. So I feel like I'm writing for the right reason now instead of just for myself.
All right. Oh, what a
Yeah.
great word. I'd like for you to keep Dale in prayer. When this interview is over, stop and pray right now for Dale that God would continue to use him and in the work that he does, the mini stories has to be able to develop, and also people will pick that up and help him tell the story and have the message that God's given him. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dale.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us for Morning Moments. And I'm going to ask you if you would keep on coming back, and may God richly bless you.